Level 1, the fish. You arrive in a van with blacked out windows. The cuffs bite into your wrists. Your charges were non-violent, white collar, maybe drug trafficking without a weapon, tax evasion, fraud, something that got you federal time, but not the kind of time that puts you behind razor wire and armed towers. You're headed to a minimum security federal prison camp. You don't know this yet, but you just won the lottery. Processing takes 6 hours. They photograph you from 4 angles. They take your fingerprints twice because the scanner didn't read them properly the first time. They issue you khaki pants, khaki shirt, white t-shirts, boxers, socks and boots that don't fit correctly. Everything is stamped with your number. You're not a name anymore. You're a registration number that will follow you through every database, every transfer, every piece of mail for the next however many years the judge gave you. They walk you to your unit. There are no cells. There are no bars. You expected cells and bars because that's what prison looks like in movies, but minimum security camps don't work that way. You walk into a dormitory that looks disturbingly like a college residence hall if that residence hall was designed by the government in 1987 and never updated. Bunk beds line the walls, 50 men to a room, sometimes more, lockers at the foot of each bed, fluorescent lights humming overhead. The air smells like industrial cleaner and something you can't identify, something human and stale and permanent. Your bunkmate introduces himself. He's doing 4 years for mortgage fraud. He's been here for 18 months. He explains the rules that aren't written down anywhere, where you can sit in the TV room, which shower stalls to avoid because the drains don't work, when to get in line for the phones because after 6 p.m. you'll wait an hour. Who runs the poker games? Who has the good coffee? You're learning a language you didn't know existed. The first morning, a horn blares at 6 a.m. You have 15 minutes to stand next to your bunk for count. Guards walk through with clipboards, pointing at each man, verifying bodies match paperwork. This happens 5 times a day. Morning count after breakfast, after lunch, before dinner, and again at night. And the Bureau of Prisons is obsessed with knowing exactly where you are at all times, even though there's no fence stopping you from walking away. Technically, you could just leave. Walk out the front entrance, down the road, into the woods. They'd notice within an hour. They'd add escape charges to your sentence. You'd go from camp to a real prison, the kind with cells and violence and years added to your release date. Nobody walks away from camp. The consequences aren't worth it. Breakfast is at 6:45. You eat scrambled eggs that were powdered before they were cooked. You eat toast. You drink coffee that tastes like it was brewed with rust. The dining hall is loud, packed with 200 men eating quickly because work assignments start at 7:30. You're assigned to grounds crew. You spend 8 hours a day mowing grass, raking leaves, trimming hedges around a facility that sits on 40 acres. The pay is 12 cents an hour. You do the math. If you work 40 hours a week for a year, you'll make $250. That money goes into your commissary account. Commissary is the store where you buy everything that makes life tolerable. Instant coffee, tuna packets, cookies, soap that doesn't smell like bleach, deodorant, stamps, envelopes, shoes that fit. You're probably wondering what it feels like being here. Honestly, it feels like being stuck in an airport terminal that you can never leave. Everything is beige or grey. Everything is uncomfortable but not quite unbearable. The routine is mind-numbing. Wake up, count, eat, work, count, free time, count, sleep. Repeat. The days blur together. A week feels like a month feels like a year. Time moves differently when every day is identical to the one before it. The other inmates are businessmen, accountants, low-level drug dealers who never touched a gun, people who made one catastrophic mistake and are now paying for it in increments of 12-cent hours and fluorescent lighting. Most people keep to themselves. There's no gang violence here. There's barely any violence at all. Fights are rare because fighting gets you transferred to a real prison, and nobody wants that. The worst thing that happens at camp is boredom. And the creeping realization that you're losing years of your life to a place that feels like purgatory designed by a government contractor. You call home once a week, 15-minute phone calls that cost $1 a minute. Your family sounds far away, like they're living in a different dimension. They tell you about their jobs, their problems, the weather. You tell them you're fine. You're always fine. What else can you say? That you're counting days, that you lie awake at night doing math, calculating release dates, subtracting good time credits, wondering if you'll recognize yourself when you finally leave. 3 months in, you stop thinking of this place as temporary. It becomes your life. You make friends with your bunkmate. You join a Bible study group because it gets you out of the dorm on Tuesday nights. You start playing cards, you read books from the library, donated paperbacks with broken spines and missing pages. But here's what nobody tells you about minimum security. You're comfortable enough that you forget you're in prison, and then something reminds you. A random search of your locker. A denial of your request to call home on your daughter's birthday because it's not your assigned phone day. The fact that you need permission to walk from one building to another. You're 9 months into your sentence when you hear about the low-security facility across the state. Level 2, the low-security inmate. The transfer happens without warning. You're told to pack your belongings in a mesh laundry bag. Everything you own fits in one bag. You're loaded onto a bus with 15 other inmates, all heading to different facilities across the state. The bus has caged windows and a guard with a shotgun sitting in the front. You ride for 6 hours through countryside you haven't seen in over a year. The low-security federal correctional institution looks different from the moment you arrive. There's a fence, 2 of them actually, running parallel with about 15 feet between them, topped with coils of razor wire that glint in the afternoon sun. Guard towers stand at each corner. You can see officers inside holding rifles. This isn't camp anymore. Processing takes 4 hours. They strip search you again, photograph you again, issue you new clothing, new bedding, a new inmate number for this facility's system. You're assigned to a housing unit, not a dormitory this time, a cell block. The cell is 7 feet by 10 feet. Concrete walls painted institutional beige. 2 steel bunks bolted to the wall. A metal desk. A combination toilet and sink unit made of stainless steel. A small window near the ceiling with bars and reinforced glass. Your cellmate is already there when you arrive. He's been down for 8 years on a drug conspiracy charge. He tells you the rules within 5 minutes of meeting you. Don't touch his stuff. Don't use his shower caddy. Don't change the TV channel without asking. Don't talk to him before his morning coffee. You agree to everything. The population here is different. At camp, you were surrounded by white-collar offenders and low-level drug cases. Here, you're mixed in with people who have extensive criminal histories. The guy 2 cells down is doing 20 years for armed robbery. The guy across the hall has been inside for 14 years and isn't getting out for another 12. 75% of the inmates here have histories of violence. Movement is controlled. At camp, you could walk freely during approved hours. Here, everything operates on 10-minute moves that happen on the hour. When the announcement comes over the loudspeaker, cell doors unlock electronically. Oh, you have 10 minutes to get wherever you're going. The education building, the recreation yard, the dining hall, the chapel. When the 10 minutes end, doors lock again. If you're not where you're supposed to be, you're written up. The dining hall feels like organized chaos. 800 men eating in shifts. The tables are bolted to the floor, so are the stools. Different groups claim different sections. You notice it immediately. The white inmates sit in one area, the black inmates in another, the Hispanic inmates in another. The tables are divided by invisible lines that everyone respects because crossing those lines uninvited means problems you don't want. Your cellmate explains it on your second day. This isn't camp. Politics matter here. You need to figure out where you fit. Not joining a group isn't an option. Neutrality makes you a target, weak, unprotected. He asks where you're from, what you're in for, who you knew on the outside. He's trying to figure out your affiliation without asking directly. Work assignments are mandatory. You're assigned to the kitchen. 4 a.m. wake up. You prep food for 3 meals serving 800 inmates. The industrial mixers, the walk-in freezers, the steam tables. You work alongside 20 other inmates under the supervision of 2 correctional officers who mostly sit in an office drinking coffee. The pay is still 12 cents an hour. You do the math again. The math hasn't improved. Violence isn't constant here, but it's present. You see your first fight 3 weeks in. Two inmates arguing over a poker debt. It starts with words, then shoving, then fists, then other inmates jumping in to separate them or join in depending on their affiliations. Alarms sound, guards rush in wearing riot gear. Everyone's ordered to the ground, face down, hands behind your head. You lie there on cold concrete for 45 minutes while they sort it out. The entire unit gets locked down for 3 days. During lockdown, you're confined to your cell 23 hours a day. 1 hour for shower and phone calls. That's it. Meals come through a slot in the door. Your cellmate doesn't talk much during lockdown. Nobody does. The silence is heavy, oppressive. You read the same book 3 times because there's nothing else to do. The phones are a different economy here. At camp, you could call home once a week without much competition. Here, there are 40 inmates and 4 phones sign-up sheets. Time limits strictly enforced. Fights over who gets to use them. You wait 2 hours for your turn. When you finally get through, you have 15 minutes. Your wife sounds tired. She's working 2 jobs now. The bills are piling up. Your son got suspended from school. She doesn't say it, but you hear it. She's drowning and you're not there. The rec yard is where you learn the real hierarchy. Who runs what? Who controls the weight pile? Who handles the basketball courts? Who sits where? Your cellmate introduces you to people he knows, vouches for you. This matters more than you realise. Without someone vouching, you're nobody. Worse than nobody. Suspicious. You're 4 months into low security when you realise something that would have seemed impossible at camp. You miss camp. You miss the freedom of movement, the relative safety, the boredom that at least wasn't punctuated by violence. But you also understand why they moved you here. Your security points went up, a disciplinary infraction you picked up for having contraband. Just a cell phone someone asked you to hold. You said yes because saying no seemed worse at the time. That decision cost you. Camp privileges gone. Transferred to a facility where the rules are harder and the consequences more immediate. You're learning what the system actually is, a ladder. Each rung more dangerous than the last, and some inmates are climbing whether they want to or not. Level 6, medium security. The transfer comes 18 months into your sentence. Another disciplinary infraction. This time it wasn't even yours. Your cellmate got caught with tobacco. You were in the cell. Guilt by proximity. The Bureau doesn't care about nuance. You arrive at the medium security facility in shackles. The bus ride took 9 hours through 3 states. No bathroom breaks, no food. Just you and 40 other inmates chained to benches, staring at nothing. The facility looks different immediately. Razor wire everywhere. Double fencing with electronic sensors. Guard towers with armed officers scanning the grounds. This isn't low security pretending to be strict. This is actual containment. Processing takes 6 hours. Strip search, cavity search, medical screening, psychological evaluation, assignment to a cell block. You're given a cell, not a bunk in a dormitory, 7 feet by 12 feet, concrete walls, steel door with a small window, a cellmate already inside when you arrive. He's doing 20 years for armed robbery. 3rd offence. He doesn't ask your name. He tells you which bunk is yours and goes back to reading. The noise is constant here. Doors slamming. Men shouting, guards barking orders, metal on metal, echoes that never stop. You sleep maybe 4 hours that first night. Morning count is at 5 a.m. You're locked in your cell. An officer walks past counting heads. You stand at your door so he can see you. If you're not visible during count, the entire block gets locked down until they find you. Movement is controlled now. 10-minute windows when you can go from your cell to the yard, the cafeteria, the education building. Miss your window and you're locked wherever you are until the next one. The yard is divided. Not officially, but everyone knows. One section belongs to the whites, another to the blacks, another to the Hispanics, another to whoever doesn't fit those categories. You cross into the wrong section and things happen. Nobody tells you this on day 1. You learn by watching, by noticing where people don't go. Your first week, you see 3 fights. Real fights, not shoving matches. Homemade weapons, blood on concrete, guards in riot gear, lockdowns lasting days. The violence here isn't personal. It's structural. It's about respect and territory and debts and affiliations that go back years before you arrived and will continue years after you leave. You get a job in the laundry facility. Industrial washers running 12 hours a day. The heat is unbearable. You're soaked with sweat within an hour. The pay is still 12 cents an hour. You do the math. Again, the phone situation is worse. 6 phones for 300 inmates, sign-up sheets that get ignored, arguments that escalate. You wait 3 weeks for a 15-minute call home. Your daughter answers this time. She's 8 now. She doesn't remember what you look like. She asks when you're coming home. You tell her soon. It's a lie. You have years left. She knows it's a lie too. The gangs are visible here. They don't hide. They run entire cell blocks. They control commissary, gambling, protection. You're approached in your 2nd month. Not recruited exactly, evaluated. Where are you from? What's your charge? Who do you know on the outside? You answer carefully. Neutral responses. Non-committal. You're not trying to join anything. You're trying to survive. That becomes harder when your cellmate gets transferred. Your new cellmate is younger, aggressive, connected to people who run things. He brings problems into your cell, debts, conflicts, visitors you don't want. You can't request a transfer. You don't have that kind of pull, so you adapt. You learn when to be in the cell and when to find reasons to be somewhere else. The education programs here are better than low security. You enroll in a vocational course, carpentry. It gives you something to do, somewhere to be, skills that might matter on the outside if you ever get there. You meet an older inmate in the woodshop. He's been down 19 years. He tells you the secret to medium security. Keep your head down. Don't owe anyone anything. Don't get involved in other people's problems. Mind your business. It sounds simple. It's not. Because in medium security, everything overlaps. Your cellmate's problem becomes your problem. Your work assignment puts you in proximity to conflicts you didn't create. The 10-minute moves force you into spaces with people who have long memories and short tempers. You witness something you shouldn't have seen. 2 inmates exchanging something in the corridor. Drugs, probably. Maybe a weapon. They see you see them. Now you're a variable, a potential problem. They approach you later, make it clear you didn't see anything. You agree, enthusiastically, because the alternative is being labelled a snitch, which in medium security is a death sentence. 6 months in, you've learned the rhythm. Wake up, count, breakfast, work detail, lunch. Yard time if there's no lockdown. Dinner. Back to your cell. Lights out at 10. Repeat. The days blur together. Weeks become months. You stop counting. You stop thinking about the outside in concrete terms. It becomes abstract, a place that exists in theory, but not in any way you can touch. Your wife stops writing. The letters just stop coming. You don't blame her. What is there to say anymore? You're not coming home anytime soon. She has a life to live. You understand. Understanding doesn't make it hurt less. You realize something that changes how you see everything. The system isn't designed to rehabilitate, it's designed to warehouse, to remove you from society and store you until your sentence is complete. Everything else, the programs, the jobs, the counseling, that's decoration. The real function is containment. You're 8 years into a 15-year sentence. You've been at medium security for 2 years. You've seen men leave. You've seen men arrive. The faces change, but the structure remains. And you're starting to understand that surviving prison isn't about doing your time. It's about not letting your time do you. Level 10. Release. The door opens, not your cell door, the final door, the one between inside and everything else. You're wearing clothes that don't fit right. Donated car keys and a button-down shirt that someone's family dropped off years ago. Your belongings fit in a plastic bag. A few books, letters you've kept, $47 in gate money. They hand you a bus ticket. They give you the address of a halfway house 3 states away. They tell you to report within 24 hours. Then you're standing on a sidewalk in the morning sun, and the noise of the prison is behind you, and the noise of the world is in front of you, and you have no idea how to be a person anymore. Your daughter is 16 now. She's lived half her life with you behind bars. Your wife remarried 2 years ago. You signed the papers from medium security. The world kept moving while you were frozen in concrete and razor wire. You have conditions, parole check-ins every week, no contact with former associates, no leaving the state without permission, a curfew, random drug tests. One mistake and you're back inside, climbing that ladder again. You take the bus to the halfway house. You get a job washing dishes at a restaurant that doesn't ask too many questions. You save money $12 an hour at a time. You try to remember what freedom felt like before you learned what it costs. Somewhere right now, someone is being sentenced. The judge is reading numbers that will define the next decade of their life. They don't know about the fish tank, or the 10-minute moves, or the razor wire, or the way time stops meaning anything when every day is identical. They don't know about the ladder yet. They're about to learn. The system is still there, still operating, still moving people up and down those rungs, still warehousing bodies in concrete boxes scattered across the country, still pretending it's about rehabilitation when it's really about removal. And you're out now, free technically, except you're not. You'll never be all the way out. Part of you is still standing at that door during count. Part of you is still lying on that bunk calculating release dates. Part of you is still trapped in that medium security cell, watching violence you can't stop and learning silence you can't unlearn. That's what prison actually takes. Not just your time. Your ability to exist anywhere without those walls still standing around you.